how are you?
I'm all right. How are you, Joseph?
Not too bad. Nice to see you.
See you too.
How is it going?
Life is complicated all the time. It's always, it's always there's always something, but it's good. You know, it's good. It's kind of the good stress of life right now.
Last time you told me that for Canada it is home. Do you still feel like that?
Oh yeah. I still do.
What makes you happy here?
Good question. Well, it's not fair to say I'm completely happy. You know, like I'm completely happy. I'm in the process of being happy. What makes me happy here in Canada? First of all, the weather. I grew up in North American weather. So I grew up in the northeast of the United States. So I am happy with the weather. I mean, right now it's perfect. I know it's never like this.
I know, yeah. Indian summer.
Yeah, it's in the summer. But this is like, for example, right now the fall. This time of the year is my favorite. So like this time of the year is when I'm happy with the weather. And also I think like being able to work, have a job, that makes me happy.
I see. Is winter bother you?
Not at all. Not at all. I like winters. I don't like the snow, but I deal with it.
You know, everybody says that there are 6 months winter, 8 months winter or so.
For them.
Yeah, but it starts in October. We are now end of September, right?
Yeah.
Mid-October will start and will end March.
People don't pay attention to the changes because they're just worried about, well, when's the next summer? But when I moved to New York City in 1997, I wanted to see the snow for the first time in winter. And I thought, I had the idea that it was a white Christmas. You know, at Christmas time it was always white with snow. That's not true. And the first time in 97, my first winter in the US, there was no snow. No snow. Nothing in New York City.
Yeah.
No snow. I didn't see the snow until March of 1998 in the winter. Like the real deal with snow.
Yeah.
And then eventually every year in New York City, we were getting less and less snow.
Global warming.
Yeah, global warming. So remember last year here, the winter was mild, and people were saying, "Oh, it was very mild." Well, look, we are in September, the second half of September, and it's still nice.
Nice. And you know, I think it's the first in history that second year in a row canal wasn't open and Winterlude, we couldn't make Winterlude in February 7th, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So winter doesn't bother me at all. I'm really happy. I mean, I like it when it's cold, but yeah, I don't enjoy being outside with the snow, but it's not like I do it all the time.
What is the most attractive things in Canada? Or in Ottawa?
Yeah, well, here in Ottawa, it's clean, it's fresh, see, it's green too. You see all these open spaces. Honestly, for me, it's a small city. I always lived in a city, and I always thought that living in the city was good for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I like being busy. I like being active. But living in New York City, it was hard for me to accomplish because there's more competition. You know, and I went back to Mexico City, and I saw that there was more opportunities for me with the knowledge and the tools that I had, the skills. And then having a third chance here in Ottawa, with all the knowledge that I have, that's what became attractive. The opportunities that I get here, because Ottawa is a small city, but I am not from a small city. So my lifestyle is not like I am from a small city. So if I have to walk, I walk. I don't drive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, it's very interesting. East and to west end, it takes maximum 40 minutes Ottawa, but you can find all kind of activities like a metropole, all concerts, all everything is actually it's a small, big city. Interesting. It's a very good combination. You think any immigrants can find a job easily with the PR we are talking about, and then I'm gonna ask you without PR, or you can
Okay.
tell both.
Well, I think maybe we should discuss the job without PR, because that's what starts with the experience you need, right? So like for new immigrants, that little thing that says we need Canadian experience, well, that starts without the PR. As soon as we get a work permit, yeah, maybe we can discuss that first, because it's the first step. Have you ever seen this on social media, these false advertisements that you don't need the language when you come, and
No, I didn't do this. It's
Well,
stupid.
exactly.
The most stupid things
exactly,
I heard.
those are the exactly.
You don't need eyes to see.
Exactly, right. So you do need the language. You need you need to understand when you're filing for a job application. You need to know what you're reading. So you do need the language, and so when you get a job just with a work permit, people don't understand, and people think it's, oh, I'm making minimum wage, right? I can't survive with this. They don't understand that the other person that is in that job is the person that is teaching you where to pay your taxes, where to get your driver's license, where to go find the things that you need to survive in Canada. So for example, when you have a job, and the most boring job, or a work environment, and you're making minimum wage, and then you are unhappy, well, that's the start. Talk to the coworker that's been there longer, and that coworker will tell you how to start the next step.
However, the most difficult one is the very first job.
Yeah.
And most probably it'll be a delivery job or low skill, low language efficiency, whatever.
Every first job is always the most difficult job, even if it's something that you like to do.
How did it work for you?
Well, for me, it wasn't that difficult, because I became an immigrant when I was 17 years old. So at 40, when I came here, I was 40 years old, and I knew I was an immigrant already. So I didn't. So this is one thing I have to share personally with new immigrants. Nobody has the worst or the saddest story. Your story or my story are not sad for the next person.
Yeah.
You know, nobody has the saddest story. So one of the things that people don't understand is that the Canadian dream won't happen in 1 year. It's impossible. I mean, it doesn't even happen in 10.
Yeah, that could be though.
But
not
are we
one,
saying-
not first 5 years for sure?
When we say it happened in 10 years, it's because that dream is over. If you accomplish the Canadian dream in 10 years, then what are you doing next? You have to keep living that dream by doing the same thing you did to accomplish it. So you're always going to be working, even if you become a well successful person.
Why do you think people are coming here?
I don't know the entire situation of everyone, but I think
Generally speaking, I mean, not personal, not me, not you. Generally, why people
I think they have
are-
the false idea. I think they have the false idea because their relatives, the social media, the stuff that people share on social media, or people think that because you live in a first world country, you have money. So that's why, that's the idea. So if I'm gonna leave my country to go have more money in the other country. So I think that's why people come.
But you know, the migration here started way before social media.
And way before Europeans.
That's true. That's true. But if you look at the modern era, people are coming here, and the question is actually why people are coming here. This question, the reason I'm asking you, what they should expect coming here. What do you expect? Actually, this is one side of the medal. The other one is what push you from your country, why you are leaving your country. You're born here, your family is there, your friends are there, you've grown up in that culture. Why you are leaving all that stuff and going another country? Most likely you are gonna be the second class person, maybe third class, I don't know. What do you think about it, sir?
Maybe fourth class person. I think people are willing to suffer because, first of all, they don't know. Who knows you're gonna be suffering when you move to a new place, right? Nobody knows. Everybody has the expectation and the plan to not suffer. The problem is that no one tells us, hey, if you want this, it will cost this.
Yeah.
And if you want it right away, it will cost a little bit more. But if you want it, doesn't mean you can have it. So a lot of people don't understand that. And I always wanted to live in the United States since I was a little kid because my father was there. So I always wanted to be
You
there.
could end up there actually, but you didn't want.
But I didn't know what it was.
I see.
Right? See, I didn't know the whole picture. I just wanted to be there because my father was there. And because watching TV, we didn't have social media, but also watching TV makes you want to go somewhere.
Of course, yeah.
Everybody says books open the world for you. So when you read a book, you want to go there. So social media, it's on a phone right now, but the message of other worlds has always been there for us. No?
What's your dream here?
I didn't live a good life, but so far.
No, I'm talking, we are going to future now.
Yeah.
And you are looking back, your own life. What will make you that, yeah, I lived. Good thing I went to Canada, I lived. For example, I had house, I had car, nice family, or I don't know. This is personal, not the general speaking.
I honestly, I can say today I have lived. Yeah. I can say I have experienced a lot of stuff, not everything. I have been surrounded by beautiful, beautiful people in my life. So I can probably say, yeah, I have lived, but I don't have what I want to leave behind. So I hope I can live up to 95, so which is 50 years from now, and can give me another chance to do it again. It would make me happy to leave enough resources for my children to move to the next step and say we are not middle class anymore or second class citizens. My children are still second class citizens, regardless whether I like it or not, because I am in that level of the social class. So it will make me happy if I die and I leave something behind. And I'm talking about material.
Material thing. What about the moral things?
Well, the moral things, I'm not worried about it because I'm not worried because I'm well aware what I'm leaving behind. I am a complicated person, but I am well aware that the people that know me, they will say, well, he was in a hole, but there's always a but for me. Yes, I was a complicated kid. I was a complicated person.
Yeah, I remember that without father around you, all that stuff.
But there's always a but for me. I'm proud of it.
Everybody has actually. I mean,
I'm not ashamed either. So so I'm not ashamed. I regret a lot of things. I wish I could say sorry to a lot of people, and if I have the chance to ever say, I will. But I'm not ashamed of what I'm leaving behind for my kids in the moral situation. Maybe I'm gonna leave bad memories, but not something I can say, oh please, no. Bad memories as a dad, like complicated dad.
No, actually, nobody can understand each other what
Yeah.
passing through.
Yeah,
and,
so fights with my, like I have a son who is 20 years old. I'm well aware that if I die today, he will remember me as a bad father, not because I abused him or hit him, just because I had fights with him. But he will remember that I used to take him to Central Park to walk the dogs with me. He will remember, he will tell people, oh, my dad used to be a dog walker in Central Park and he used to take me there.
most probably your children, your son, will change. They actually not will change. They will see the reality. What's being father, especially when he becomes father. Things are changing.
Yeah, exactly.
I can see that my older son became a father. He changed. We were always good relationship, but I mean now he knows.
It's always like, I mean, it doesn't happen to everybody, but yes, I'm sure that when you send the right message to your kids, I'm sure that if one of my kids, when they become parents, they will. Because me and their moms, we send, even though we're complicated, we send the right message.
Any one of them planning to come here to Canada, living with you or living in Canada somewhere?
I don't know right now. I have no idea. My kids are in the U.S., so they're Americans. So they all, in a way, they have the first world in front of them. In a sense, what we call the first world.
They wouldn't come either.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They will. Yeah. No, yes,
It doesn't make sense though. If I were an American, why should I come to Canada? Even Trump was a
Let me tell you something a little bit that is, as a new Canadian, is complicated for me. That it's I've been facing the challenge. A lot of people. I see you asked the question, why would people come? And we come to Canada because we get the message that it's peaceful here, that there's no violence.
Technically, you came from Mexico, not from United States.
No, but when I was living in the U.S., when I was living in the U.S., we always know, and I think the world understands Canada as a peaceful place. It is peaceful.
Yes, yeah.
It is a very peaceful, to the point that peace makes you too peaceful that you ignore the environment. You ignore the aggressiveness that is around us. So if we live surrounded by too much peace, a little bit of noise makes us crazy.
I know. We just was upset.
And you see, like, I'm not talking about this, I'm using the metaphor.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you another example, being more realistic. It's so quiet here that the other day there was two men fighting in the street with words. So they were arguing. And a woman saw that and demanded me to call the police because two men were fighting. So she used the word fighting as like they were aggressively destroying. Exactly. And then when I went out and looked, I just saw the guys yelling at each other, drunk. Two drunk guys. And
it's also very rare, actually.
I'm sorry, was that?
It's very rare
yes,
too.
Exactly. So, but the person, the woman, was in shock. And I said to myself, see, that is the difference when you come from a place that is not peaceful and live to a place that is peaceful. And Ottawa is not peaceful anymore.
But still, when I consider Belgium, for example, I was there. Still here is way peaceful than there. Completely different than here.
Yeah. That is one thing that people do not connect. The history of that fun from the Middle East in America. When you say the Middle East included Italy and Spain, the southern part of Spain. I'm not saying in geography, but the Turkey Empire and the Roman Empire had all that circle around. So when the Spanish came to America, they were already mixed with that Middle East culture.
Yeah.
And the food.
Arabs were there, you know.
And the Arabs, exactly. So they brought it here. Now, people don't understand why I look like this. Well, I look like this because someone from Spain was mixed with an Arab.
Yep.
And then that person came to Mexico and mixed with my indigenous people, and then I look like this. The same situation is in Mexico. The Spanish that were fun mixed with the Aztecs that were fun. So we have so much fun. Like, that's why our food is full of color and all that. Now, people think this doesn't matter, but it matters because.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so people think it doesn't matter that when you bring that culture. I'm not talking about the fun. You know, when you bring your culture and you say, well, my culture. People, if you tell people I'm bringing Mexican culture to Canada, they will reject it. But if you say I'm bringing European culture into Canada, why? Because it's a Spanish, it's from Spain. People react differently. And let me tell you, when you go in the U.S., when you go to the Chinese neighborhood, when you go to the Korean neighborhood, when you go to the Mexican neighborhood, when you go to the Indian neighborhood, you don't see other cultures in those neighborhoods. Here in Canada, yes,
People are.
yes, you have the Chinese neighborhood, but there's more culture around that Chinese neighborhood.
I know,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's the majority is Chinese, but there's other cultures around it, and that's also the difference between Canada and the U.S. Historically, Mexican culture is taken as you're not part of North America. You're Mexican. Canada and the U.S. is North America. Yeah, I mean, if you want to teach that in school, people will say yes. But Mexico was the first big city. Mexico City was the first big city of North America, 100 years before the U.S. So we got all the European influence before Canada and the U.S. Not mainly British or English, but they try. British and French. We got a little bit more French than British. We got more Spain, of course, Spanish, and African, of course. But in Mexico, we have the same thing. I grew up with the same culture, Christmas, Halloween, and New Year's. We just don't have Thanksgiving Day that we only saw on TV, right? So when I came to the US and Canada, I was used to the same tradition, and I was used to the same structure of lifestyle, Americanized. What we celebrate here on Halloween or New Year's, and that's Americanized. Labor Day is the same day here.
Same day, yeah.
And they don't even know.
First of May, they don't have no idea.
But it was invented in the United States, in Chicago. So, but it became a communist symbol that the USA, we don't want to be, associated with that May 1st. But May 1st was invented in Chicago. So Canada also adopted Labor Day in September.
Yeah.
So that's the
Isolating.
point. Exactly. Are you adopting more American lifestyle, or are you keeping the real Canadian lifestyle, right?
Nice, yeah.
So coming here for me was the same.
Thank you.
We do that.
Actually, I always think that Mexico is different than other Northern American countries, but I'm putting that way. I'll put that way. Mexicans like Spanish people, like Europeans, not the Northern Europeans. For England, when you talk to Brits, they say that we and Europe. They don't consider themselves as a European. And Mexican people like Middle Easterns, for God's sake. They like the work, they like the fun, siesta. Yeah. And here, one of the most difficult thing for me is there's no fun. I mean, there's peace, for sure.
That's
There's everything is quiet, A friend of mine asked me, I said, why you are going to Turkey? You should stay here, etc. I was planning to go. And I said, okay, let's have fun this weekend. He said, oh, sure. I said, you tell me what to do. He couldn't find. I said, that barbecue, backyard, cleaning the garage.
Yes, we in Mexico we have this connection with that part of Spain that you say, and that part of Spain that is connected to the Middle East and all these cultural influences. But that's not just Mexico, that's the entire continent of America, like all Spanish countries.
Oh, yeah.
We all have it.
Even Brazil,
Yeah,
it's Portuguese.
I mean, Cuba, you go to the Caribbean, and it's the entire continent that has that influence from Europe and Africa. So we can't just say, I mean, the African slaves that came with the Europeans, they brought music and also food and tradition and language and beliefs, religion. So all that adds up. If you put together music, like for example, jazz, you know, or rock and roll or country, whatever, there's all this African, European influence. The guitar came from the Arabs in Egypt, whatever. The drums we can't say came from Africa. The drums were already here too, but drumming. So when you put a music band together,
I believe drum was everywhere in the world because it was the simplest
thing to make. Yeah,
you
also the
somewhere.
flutes.
You don't even need a tool. You can
No,
hit.
you just even this, right?
Yeah,
Even this,
exactly.
but when you put this band together, you see all these influences, and it's just hard to not understand that. You said it earlier, migration was not something we created. So what makes people think that the new migration in Canada is not gonna change Canada? I don't know, but it's gonna change, because I was trying to say this earlier. When immigrants bring culture, we should be allowed to have fun.
Yeah, I see.
It's up to us to make you see that it's healthy fun or bad fun. But we cannot come to Canada and just be new Canadians.
I understand,
We
but
have to bring
your own culture,
Uh-huh.
but it's very complicated. Why? For example, in my country or in some countries, you cannot line up. This is my culture. I don't line up, for God's sake. I am smarter. I can go the
I know
front.
when's my turn.
Yeah. Or why should I use the garbage? There are people are doing this job. And they are making money because of the leaders.
Yes.
So I can throw my garbage here.
Somebody
My
will pick
leader
it up.
here. Somebody will have job.
Yeah, it's
a
culture.
good thing. I'm thinking now. It's not difficult for me to go the garbage can
It's
to put there.
culture.
So I'm bringing new culture here. Throwing the garbages, spitting the food, because it's organic. Nothing hurts if I spit on the floor.
Yeah, I see what you no, but I see what you mean. But let me give you another example of like what you say, you know, like, so I come from a culture where street food, you have street food everywhere.
Yeah.
And street food is not just about the food, it's about the environment that it creates.
Yeah, I like street food actually.
If you have a street food at night, you're not only feeding people, the cops,
Oh, yeah.
the people that work at night, the firefighters, the emergency people. So, I mean, they have street food at night.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? And street food is not just food. It brings happiness.
Yeah.
If you wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning or 9 p.m., I don't know if you wake up and I'm hungry, you should have the freedom to go outside, either walk or drive, to go eat something at night. You can order it online, whatever. But if you order it, someone else should have the right to go.
In Northern America, we don't have too much retailers actually. Retailers, I mean the small retailers I'm talking about, individuals.
Small business.
Yeah, small business. micro business, whatever. So you need to go to shopping mall
For
to
everything.
get everything. Walmart, enough. We have Walmart, okay, you can go for your car, you can go for food. It's sad actually. But climate also maybe affects a little bit. But I do agree that if it's clean and healthy, street food is a culture
It can be controlled, yes.
we don't have here.
Exactly, it can be, but it can be controlled. But we don't have it, Justin. But again, will things change or not?
Yeah.
I mean, that is what we were starting. Like that's why I told you, like, things doesn't stay the same. Things will never stay the same forever.
I understand. But my concern is I don't want change a lot. Why? Because I came here to live here's culture.
Yeah.
I picked here. I wanted to live like this. 10 years later, 15 years later, whatever, if it changes totally, there's no point to come to Canada then. Europe has similar issues right now because so many immigrants are going there and they are bringing their own cultural richness and flaws. My concern is here, for example, when I go to fast food here, all the same kind of people now started, and they are not as clean as, and I'm arguing for the food. In the past, I was saying that it's cold, I guess. They say, oh, no problem, sir. They just put in the garbage, give me a new one. Now, when I say the same thing, they no, it's not cold. We just made it. Take it back. I mean, do you know what I mean?
I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm going to insert something here that will probably not make sense, but let me just bring it up because I think it's part of the problem. About 15 years ago, I was working in New York City for HBO. So I was working for HBO in 6th Avenue, like in Times Square, like 40 some, I mean 6th Avenue and 42nd Street. And 3 or 4 buildings down on the same street, it was the offices of Google. Google has some offices there in New York City back then, 15 years ago. And we heard that the new building of Google, it was not offices like people remember someone in an office. They had couches, they had TVs, they had video games, they had sleeping rooms, they had free food. It was like a playground working office. It was a rumor. I never went in there, but people used to tell me. So when you work in Google in New York City, you never have an office. You work in your couch. You work in a... Well, look, it took 15 years for them to move out of the office, and now you have it in a house.
Yeah.
Here is the problem. Here is the problem. That generation that has the philosophy that a boss or that someone can work in a couch, that's the person that is not training that person to clean the restaurant area because everything is from the couch. So when you go and you face a restaurant or an establishment that is neglected like that, it's because everybody's working from the couch.
Yeah.
People will be mad at me for saying this, but if you work from the couch, do you have to clean the couch? No. So if your boss is not cleaning the couch, why should you clean it? So when you go and you find these people not working properly, it's because no one is training them.
I see. Yeah,
It's a new
interesting point of
generation.
view, yeah.
It's a new generation.
I see. Yeah. What about your mom? Is she happy because, or is she has any trouble because of you are here?
My mom's
she
in
feel?
Mexico. My mother
Yeah,
is in
I
Mexico.
know.
Yeah. I see my mom once a year now. Now I have the opportunity to see my mom once a year. But my mom is... I wish I could bring her here, but my mom needs a wheelchair
I see.
accessible. So it's complicated, and I honestly think that if I apply for a visa and all that, Canada will make it hard now because she's
Because of
Mexican
health
and because of her health issues, they will think I'm bringing her just for the health and care. And no,
I it's not fair for her to ISU because she used to live there all her own environment.
That's
right?
true. Yeah, I would. I mean, I would love, but it's too late now. I would love her to just visit here, but yeah, I think it will be complicated. The paperwork more.
Yeah. Okay, maybe final question.
Yes.
You are not unhappy being here, right? Or how you, after nearly 5 years, how you feel? Some people said that I'm gonna get my citizenship, my passport, and go back to my country. How you feel like that?
Like I mentioned, when we started, I'm not happy 100%, but not because of where I live. I'm not happy because it's not easy to be happy, and I'm in a period of my life where becoming a second part, like a second phase of being an immigrant, it was more difficult. I forgot what was the question. So why am I like that? I'm happy here.
You're not gonna live, right? You're gonna stay
No,
here
oh,
forever.
no. I have no plans of going anywhere here. No. I have actually the opposite. It might sound a little bit drastic, but I have the opposite of changing things here. I'm sorry, not the opposite. I have the purpose. I have the goal to change a little bit here. I mean, I don't want to change the culture. I want to change me so I have fun.
I see.
I mean, I have fun, but to make it fun for the people around me too.
It brings another question: adaptation or what is it named?
Assimilation.
Assimilation. Yeah.
I have.
Do you have any scared? I don't want to be assimilation.
No, I have assimilated. I haven't adapted. I'm assimilated. I'm very close to. I'm very close to the Canadian culture from my American experience, and I educate myself.
And the question: is it a bad thing?
No, my God.
Assimilating.
No. Oh my God, why? This is another thing that is controversial for me. Since I was a little kid, I wanted to live in the United States. When my father moved to the U.S., I was 6 years old. I was 6 years old, or 7 maybe, when my father planted the idea, you're gonna come here.
Yeah.
And from that moment, I wanted to be in the U.S. That doesn't mean I wanted to be like someone in the U.S. I wanted to be me in the U.S. And I became who I am in the U.S., in Mexico, and in Canada. So I am those 3 countries living in Canada.
I can say that you are not assimilated yet because you still want street food.
Good Good point. I am refusing to assimilate. But you know why, Jelsin? You know why? Because we have less corporate food in the United States. The United States has the street food.
Yeah,
There's
big
more
cities, there's, I guess.
No,
I don't
not
know,
just big
everywhere?
city. When you go
Because
to
there are a lot of Mexicans
well,
there.
of course, when you when you go to small towns, yes, they don't have, but that's not healthy though. That's why small town people are not healthy like in the big cities, because they don't have access to street food, and street food is not healthy, but it's not corporate food. It's not corporate food, processed food.
Yeah, they are using processed food.
Yeah.
That reminds me of a joke before we close. Two strangers were walking in New York. They are very hungry, but they don't have enough money. The one was said, hey, let's have hot dog. There's only $1. They said, I don't like dog meat. They have no idea what it is. They said, yeah, in any case, let's try only $1 for God's sake. He said, okay, let's go. And they get one hot dog each. The first one bites, he said, which part of dog? Okay, do you think there's a discrimination against Mexicans or the other countries?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, something.
Yeah.
And what kind of experience do you have?
I'm not feeling discriminated as a Mexican. I'm feeling discriminated as an American. Well, I guess it's a Mexican too. I should take it back. But the most discriminatory examples that I can give you that I have faced is, number one, when I say I'm from Mexico City, and I tell people you should go, it's beautiful. The first reaction is, ooh, is it safe to go? That is the first discriminatory. Or when I tell people I grew up in New York City, oh my God, this big smile because I grew up in New York City. So they don't understand. New York City has always been New York City, but it's always been New York dangerous city. It's never safe for everybody. It was safe for me. It was safe for me because I'm a man, but you can ask that to women. It was never safe for women.
Yeah.
Never. It's never been safe for women, New York City. In the 70s, they were killing women. There was a crazy guy called the Son of Sam killing women in New York City in the 70s.
Yeah.
So people feel happy when I say I'm from New York City, and they like that I'm from Mexico City. But when I say you should go, they would rather go to Mexico. They would rather go to New York City, but they don't go.
Not New York City, it's still New York City.
But that's that's also discrimination. Some people here don't go to New York City because it's a big city. It's dangerous. So that's discriminating.
Yeah.
Even though it's New York City, not going there because it's dangerous is discriminating because it's not dangerous everywhere. Yeah.
Okay, let's think that way. I'm a Dutch. You are a Mexican. We applied the same job. And we are more or less same skills, same quality. You think person will pick me just because of I am European?
I have been in that situation. I have been in the situation where I have had job interviews, and if I tell you, I remember at least 3 where I found myself sitting next to a person that was completely different, culturally different. And out of those 3, I got hired twice. So I have been treated with privilege.
I see.
So I will be the wrong person to answer that question.
Okay, what about if I were a Canadian? Not Dutch.
No. I'm going to. I'm trying to answer. It's the same. It's the same situation because in Mexico City, because my diplomas are from New York, I got treated with privilege.
Yeah, I know.
And I can say next to a woman or next to a man. In the United States, I would probably think they would pick the Dutch person. In Canada, I think they would pick me for the simple fact that my resume.
Of course, yeah.
They really read the resume in Canada.
Which is good.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's very important. So
I mean,
many
I'm sure if the Dutch person has an amazing resume, it will be. But if I know that my resume and that person's resume is fairly
Everything
competitive,
is the same, huh?
I would be. If they don't pick me, I wouldn't feel discriminated. If they pick me, I would be like, I know why they pick me. Not because I'm better. It's because they read the resume.
I see.
Yeah.
I understand, which is good.
Yeah.
Which is good. Yeah. This is what I want to hear actually. This is why I am in Canada.
Yeah.
I mean, this is very important. So many times we are arguing into my Turkish friends. I'm saying that I never felt discrimination. I felt discrimination for my age. I should say that. But I can understand that. I mean, there are 2 people One of them is 30-year-old, the other one is 60-year-old. Which one you would pick? I mean, makes sense, right? The one is healthier, will work another 20 years for you. The other one is anytime can look. I mean, I understand. Do you have an experience with that, or just you are assuming
Experience in what?
that
Knowledge I have.
prejudice? Yeah, knowledge.
Knowledge I have. The experience on rejection, yes. I will tell you how. People reject the fact that you should have businesses open at night. That's the culture where I come from. And you mention it is fun because when you have places to go at night after work or after in the afternoon, or people working at night, then it's not fun, it's economy. It's economy. So the fun becomes economy. The other experience I have when answering your question is nothing stays the same forever. Nothing stays the same forever. And now, my only concern here is that Canada advertises as an immigration country. But what kind of immigration? Because are you accepting only one result of one kind of immigration, or are you going to accept all the immigration?
What do you see though? When you look at last 10 years, 15 years, are they accepting the Europeans or
No, I think they're accepting everything.
never?
No,
Yeah.
I think
There's no prejudice.
yes, no, that's why I think it's here, it's more visible because, and people didn't understand what, for example, let me just put this together. When I moved here to Canada from the US, I was already used to seeing the diversity, right? But when I came here, it was more visible because there was more European, African, Asian mixed together,
Yeah.
not so separated. It was more all mixed. So for me, that was more impacted. And I was telling my friends in the US, there's more diversity here, and they were laughing. And I was telling them, you don't understand. There's less people. That's
Yeah.
why it's more visible,
Yeah, you're right.
right?
So you came here and you started work. Can you give us a little more detail for shock when you came here 4.5 years ago? How did you start? Where are you now? How many years needs immigrants to settle up? All that kind of. What do you think about for newcomers?
Okay, so yeah, it was difficult to get the job situation because first of all, I started my whole process in Canada, so working was not a choice for me. I couldn't work. But once I got the work permit, excitement is something you can't say you don't have, but you don't have the skills to get that first job because you have a resume and you have the energy, but you don't understand that the first job has to be anything.
You are talking about Canada, right?
Yeah.
But you came here for tourist visa, and then you applied for working visa, and then PR is the
Yeah,
way,
of course.
right? So a lot of people are asking me that I want to come with tourist visa and then to stay there. So you are the one, similar stuff. But
It's different for everybody, right?
Yeah.
It's different for everybody. So that's one
how
thing.
you make it?
Yeah, that's one thing people should always know. It's different for everybody. And coming, you see, that's also a complicated answer because migrating to Canada is not the same as migrating to the US, right? In my perspective, it's different because I was already in the system of the US. So when I got into the system of Canada,
Lifestyle almost same. You
Exactly.
didn't have any language problem.
Exactly.
These are big issues.
exactly,
I'm saying.
huge, and understanding not only the language, Chelsea, understanding the American concept of things,
Yeah.
right? Culturally speaking, the vocabulary.
Very similar actually. United States and
Yes,
Canada.
yes.
I mean, when I drive there, I don't see any difference.
I
Only
have-
the mile, the mile.
Miles and
And
kilometers.
when I got the gas, it's a little confusing because it says 395
I know.
or something like that.
I know. Yes, for me it was the same thing when I came here. But how do you answer the question of how do you come here with no? It's just people have to know that there's a process. It's not short. You need money. You need support. Most of it, you need determination and to know that when you leave your country, you're leaving. I have many friends asking me the same question. I want to go there, but they don't want to hear. They want to hear, yes, come. They don't want to hear, you need this, you need that, but you cannot have this, you cannot have it because of this, because of that, because of this, but yes, you can come. They don't want to hear that.
Okay, so let's continue your experience here. You came here, you had some advantages, and you applied to get your working permit. I think we were there. Can you tell me the story about your working story? Because still you are trying to find another job which will suit you, and you are already here for years. People are not patient enough to wait.
No.
They say that next week or in a year everything must be settled up.
Yeah.
What's the reality for you?
So here's one important point of that question. People also don't understand that when you apply for one job and you know that that's a temporary job, you should at least be in that job between 3 and 6 months. If it's 2 months, great, because you found something else, or whatever. But if you stay in a job at least 3 to 6 months, don't stay because you have no choice. Stay because you want to have enough time to show in the next job. But also learn as much as you can, even if it's cleaning toilets, because in the next job, if you are the manager, you can train someone to clean the toilet, and that person cannot say that manager doesn't know anything. That is what people don't understand, that when you come to Canada, if you have to clean toilets, it's not humiliating.
Yeah.
I would rather clean toilets twice a week, because they're always clean, because I'm doing it twice a week, than really taking orders from people that don't know what to do every day. Every day, imagine.
Yeah. It's interesting because Japanese CEOs clean the toilet.
And I'm pretty sure they do it because their moms made them clean their toilet.
I mean, they are CEO. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
They just don't care.
I see myself doing that. I never see myself as a CEO, but I see myself as, if I ever be someone's boss, I will be helping that person clean the toilet, because I'm the one teaching them how to work with me.
Nice.
And if I don't work with people that work with me, I'm not happy with that person. That's one thing new immigrants don't understand. When they ask you for Canadian experience, you have to learn how to work with people, because your co-worker is not only your co-worker, it can be your friend. You don't know if that person will lend you money that you need to move next month. That person will maybe tell you, okay, so you don't know how to get your driver's license? Don't worry, I will teach you how to do it. Right now, if I share this really quick, this right now in one of my jobs, there's a man that's every day asking me if I need anything. So I said no. Sometimes. Last week I was like, oh my God, I need a bicycle. I want to buy a bicycle. I just made the comment. The next day he came back with a whole sign, and he asked for my phone number to make those, Hawaiian skirt signs for people to take my number and call me if they want to sell a bicycle. And I told him, you don't have to do that. I'm sorry. I don't want to take your time. But then I realized that he was doing it because he had nothing else to do. And I said, if he feels that he's doing something for me that is helping me, I'm gonna let him do it. So that's what co-workers do.
Yeah, I know.
If you are unhappy with your co-worker, you're in the wrong country.
Actually, my experience showed me that if you are not good with your co-workers, doesn't matter which country you are living in, it's your personality. If you don't know how to work together, if you are not gonna be a team member, you cannot work. I mean, doesn't matter which country.
Let me tell you something that people don't understand, and we are famous for that. The people are always saying Mexicans are hard workers. No, we're not hard workers. We're team players. Mm-hmm. We don't want to work all the time. Yeah. We want to make the work easy.
Yeah.
We
with the big heads.
Exactly. That's what. But let me tell you. When you put all these Mexicans, including, like when you put us together to work, we're gonna have fun working. We're not gonna be. We're competitive. We make fun of you. You're running behind. We bully you if you're running behind. But because we want to finish. Oh, not me. And then I'll see you later. We all want to finish at the same time. So if you're behind, we're gonna bully you until you are with us. Now, in Mexican culture, we teach each other. Because if I teach you, you're making my job easier.
I see. You think immigrant consultants telling the truth?
I'm happy you answer that. You asked that question because I don't know them. And in Mexican culture, what I see in Mexican social media, Mexicans are always saying, "Don't trust them; those are fake." It's okay if I say the countries, I don't mind. But when I saw in Colombian culture, I saw that it worked. Mm-hmm. So I asked the Colombian culture. I'm a little bit attached to the Colombian culture because my children are Colombian, so I have Colombian friends. And I asked, so these immigration consultants or agencies are real? And they say, well, I'm here. I cannot say, can you recommend it to me? Because if that person recommends that consultant, and then I get stiffed or robbed or something, then that person is responsible. That's why people do not recommend this. It only works if you are connected to that person.
They may lose their job if they lie. They are telling the truth most probably, or like statistics hiding some real challenges. Mm-hmm. And they are saying, no worries, come here, it's gonna be okay. But I don't know.
Well, lying to them exactly that you don't need the language, yes.
Okay, I am living in a third world country. I'm not happy living here. I'm speaking a little English or French. And I have money to go to Canada and spend maybe 6 months. I'm going to come as a tourist visa and I will try to stay there. Would you recommend me to get that adventure?
No.
Why? I want to be there. You were there. Yeah, you don't like me. Why you don't want me to? As an immigrant, only you guys will be there. Why I am not going to be there?
I get the same, as a Mexican, I get the same reactions from people. Yeah, and even the Mexican community will reject other immigrants. Yeah. So if someone tells me why you went and I can't, I will tell you, yeah, you have the right attitude, but someone else tells me, oh, you can't come here. So it's a war. You will never face people telling you welcome here 100% of the time. You will find people that don't want you here. You will find people that don't want more immigrants. So the challenge is to accept that. You are an immigrant, you will become a target.
Actually, one of your words is very important. Every single case person is unique.
It's unique.
So when you came here, you just did not come here. Someone was waiting for
Exactly.
you. So this is
Exactly.
big issue.
Exactly.
When you take
Big
your
difference.
luggage, you have some room to stay, feed yourself, right?
And there's stories, yeah. I have heard stories of the person that came with nothing, and boom. I heard the story only. I didn't see it. I don't know what happened, exactly what happened to that person. That, I heard it more in the U.S. than in Canada. But yeah, it's just like, it's unique.
And thank you very much for being here, Abraham. I hope you are gonna make it another one and another one to see what's going on in your life.
Thank you, Jalsin. No, thank you. It's always nice to talk to you, man. And it's nice because we share these ideas to new immigrants, and we can help a little bit.
Yeah, I hope so. People will watch and think about that
Yeah, no,
or learn. Thank you.